we are mildly interesting guys, and we talk about some stuff. So welcome to the podcast, we call it Joel the Podcast. It's Alex and it's Alex, here for Joel the Podcast. Bzzz. Hello everybody, I'm Alex.
And I'm Alex.
And this is our podcast,
Joel.
Welcome to episode 89 of Joel the Podcast. We're here celebrating another week of being alive and being podcasters. I wanted to let everyone know that Nathan owes me $4 after the resolution of all of our March Madness bets.
That is a tragedy, and unfortunately Alex does not owe me any dollars to offset those, so...
Indeed. So, yeah, you'll be hearing about that from me until he pays me $4.
Right. Which, I haven't really thought of any way to dispute this yet, seeing as we agreed on the bets, and it was pretty clear what was going on.
For the record, I have not disputed any of the recent bets that I've lost, of which there have been several, and I've paid you the money. So you could just not dispute it and pay me the money.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess we should leave this up to a listener vote.
No, we should not. It's not up to a vote. You just owe me the money. All right. So with that out of the way, let's talk about sports for 1 minute. Now that I am back with my audio problems fixed, I can set up the timer again. You don't have to be bothered with that arduous task.
Yeah, that was even worse than owing you $4, I have to say.
And yeah, shout out to Windows, which automatically fixed my audio problem by reinstalling the drivers. So normally you wouldn't expect the automatic troubleshooting to do anything, but it actually helped me. So kudos to Windows. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So as I mentioned, the NCAA tournament championship game was last week, and Gonzaga failed to complete their perfect season, losing to Baylor in, frankly, not that close of a game.
I was kind of surprised looking back at that. Baylor got up big early and then just never. I don't think they trailed at all in the game.
I don't think so.
So
congratulations to Baylor on the victory. And good luck to Gonzaga next year, I guess.
But not too good. Don't be better than Purdue. That goes for everybody if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're a college basketball coach / player, as long as you're not on Purdue, suck next year so that Purdue can win.
Yeah.
Also, baseball, basketball, and hockey continued. All right. That's the end of our minute somehow. I really did not expect to fill up 55 seconds talking about college basketball, since literally only one game happened since last week, but I guess that's what it is.
We did what we had to do.
So that brings us to the next portion of our podcast, in which we ask, did anyone send us an email this week?
In fact, we got several emails this week, but none of them were very interesting.
Darn.
So, the real answer is no.
Darn. Well, if you would like to rectify that, please send us an email, which can be found at our website, alexandalex@joelthepodcast.github.io/alexandalex@joelthepodcast.website/index.html. And you can find a link on there to send us an email. Okay. I did want to bring up, so I know a few weeks ago I mentioned on this podcast that I had started listening to a small podcast and was excited to email them.
Ooh,
I don't know if you remember that, but I did, and this week it was my email was read on their podcast, and I have to say, it was very exciting. I was very excited for them to read my email and talk about it. So
yeah.
So I cannot believe that only 1 or 2 people have emailed us over the course of our many episodes, because it is a lot of fun to email a podcast and have them talk about it. So, anyway, that is all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's great. It wasn't even
so-
me, and I'm excited.
You don't even know what the podcast is about, and you're excited.
Never heard of this I've never listened to the podcast ever.
So this for our regular listeners, you'll know that we left off in the middle of our Joel the Game last episode. So after a mere 5 minutes of intro, wow, we are going to continue the game. So we left off with the score for everyone who doesn't remember, because we clearly remember everything. We left off with the score being 61-60 in my favor, and it's my turn, and we're on round 12. So why don't I pick a game here? The game will be this.
7.
Oh, I don't have the document for the game.
7 is Hangman.
Okay, so I'm the guesser.
So we already are starting off with a brand new game
1 second.
that we
No, we're
didn't
not.
play all of last week.
Oh, that we didn't play last week. Yeah, I was going to say, we've played this game before.
We played Hangman before, but not last week, which was when we only played a few games. So I'm trying to remind myself what I'm supposed to do here. A six-letter words, and you get 8 wrong guesses.
Yes.
So let's think of a
While you think of a word, I'll think of a
letter
point
word.
total. And
Ooh,
I'm
that's
not
a good
that
point.
confident in my skills as a guesser of Hangman, so I'm going to make this a 5-point game.
5-point game, but this will determine the lead unless
Well-
we get another round to nearest 10. Well,
It will determine
That
the lead in the
true?
sense that if you win it, you will take over the lead. But I've had the lead for the entire game.
so far.
So far. So if I win, I'll just continue to have the lead.
Alright, I have thought of a word. The word is 4 letters long. I don't know if
4
you know
letters
what this is.
long. My strategy is that one of them has to be a vowel, right? So I'm going to go with O.
Well, that seems like a pretty good strategy. The second letter is O.
Okay, that's great. Alright, the second letter is O. So, probably, well, I don't know if any more are vowels, but I think it's unlikely. So let's go with a letter that goes well next to another consonant, like R.
This is going poorly for me.
R-O. Okay?
R-O.
So, what words start with R-O? Let's go with another common letter, which seems like a big mistake for you to put this many common letters in a word, but L.
L is incorrect.
Darn. Okay. What about S?
S is also incorrect.
Okay. Let's see. What other words start with R-O? R-O. Let's go with E.
There is no E.
Oh, no. All right. So how many wrong guesses? That's 3 wrong
That's
guesses?
3 wrong guesses.
So I have 5 left. All
and
right.
also 2 correct guesses. And 2 missing letters.
Right. So, no S, no L, N.
That is a 4th incorrect guess.
No. Okay. Let's go with...
Maybe you should pull up a picture of the alphabet.
No, I don't think that's necessary. Let's go with T.
T? Are you sure? There's no T.
Alright, so there's 5... So that's 5 wrong guesses. Right,
Yes.
so...
You spelled L-cent with your incorrect guesses.
I guess it's... So my thinking is... I think it's likely those last 2 letters are consonants. That's what I've been kind of banking on.
That
Then I
seems
was like,
likely.
What if it was R-O blank E? but it's clearly not.
Correct.
So, but the common consonants that go with other consonants have been guessed. So I'm kind of forced to think that maybe it's another vowel in there as the third letter, which is certainly a possibility. But I don't have that many wrong guesses left. I only have 3 wrong guesses. I can't just guess every vowel. So it's probably
You could
not,
just guess every vowel.
it's probably not I. I'm gonna hope that it's not you for the moment, although it could be. I don't think it's another vowel. I think it's, let's see. Let's go through some consonants. That see if any of them go with other consonants. B, no. C, no. Well, it could be CK. Let's go with, let's hold off on that thought though. CK, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Not a lot of good options there.
You know, it does seem like you would have benefited in those last few seconds of having a picture of the alphabet in front of you.
I would not have benefited since I clearly know the alphabet already.
Are you saying that I don't know the alphabet?
I would never say that. I would just imply it. Let's go with K.
Congratulations, there is a K. It's the last letter.
Okay, so that makes me think it's rock. I just want to take a moment to think if there's something else it could be.
Maybe there is something else that it could be, but are there 4 things that it could be?
I'll
the
go
question.
with C.
In fact, the word is rock.
Nice. All right.
So, allow me to draw a modifier.
Indeed.
And hope that it takes away all your points somehow. It is the Q of clubs.
Queen of clubs, that
Queen.
is...
That's how you say it.
Winners and losers swap.
Hooray!
So you are now the winner of the 5 points, and you take the lead.
How about that?
That's very
Our
unfortunate.
Fortunes have turned.
Honestly, it's unfortunate, but I'm glad it occurred on such a low point, inconsequential round. So
yeah, that's true. It's still anybody's race. But it is in fact now my turn.
It is your turn, so let's see what the game is.
Here it is.
It's 10. Quick memorize.
Ooh, quick memorize. So the benefit, I think, of this recording system is I can look back at the quick memorizes. I suppose it was a week ago, but you won 2 out of 3 of them. So I think I will make this a 5-point game as well.
Nice.
All right.
Make sure you delete the 5-point from your list.
Good call. This is complicated. We should...
It's not that complicated.
It's not that complicated, but we should still make it better somehow.
Okay,
right.
So I've pulled up A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne.
It's funny, I did the same thing. Why don't we click on chapter 23?
Okay. Alright, I have tabbed away. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Got my 10-second timer ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my gosh, the syntax of this is impossible. I'm gonna for sure lose this
sentence.
one. Alright, your turns. You start. You already forgot the first word?
This sentence was so bad.
This is looking good for me.
This was a tragedy of a sentence.
For all the listeners out there, the name of this chapter was Alone.
Yeah. However, the first word wasn't alone.
No, it wasn't.
It was, in fact, it.
I think you're right. Must.
In.
Fact.
I think you're wrong.
No, I'm wrong. That was a terrible sentence. Here's the
It
first
was.
sentence for all the listeners. It must in all truth be confessed, things as yet had not gone on well, and I should have acted in bad taste to have complained. That is a tough one.
Yeah, that was...
Well, after you got past the first word, you were in control all the way. So,
It was really... I should say that I was really just debating between it and in. I wasn't just at a total loss.
Right. Well, it looked like you were at a total loss.
Well, I couldn't really let on that I was debating between, two very similar words, just in case that affected the rest of the sentence in your favor or something. I don't know. But
all right. Well, regardless, here's the modifier.
Against all odds. King of clubs. Uh-oh, that might be something interesting.
It is. Plus 10
Oh,
to
it
winner.
is. Ooh, very interesting. I like that.
All right. Congratulations for your additional 10 points. Oh my gosh. I'm not putting a formula here, Google.
The lead grows. It is now, after just 2 games, 61 to 80. All right. And that'll be you up next. What do we got?
We got
a jack. Guest
who has
choice.
the highest card.
Oh, or who has the highest card, seeing as we have no guest.
All right. I've got my card.
And I've got mine. Oh, did
All
you
right. Oh, I
pick the
forgot
point total?
Shit, I can't do that now that I've seen my card. So I'm gonna put my card in the bottom, pick the point total, and then
pick
a
a
new
fresh card. That's fair.
my card was a 6, so that probably works out in my favor. This is clear. I'm clearly gonna win. Let's go with 7 points.
7 points. All right. So yeah, on average, you're gonna draw a higher card this time.
All right, here we go. All right, I've got a new card. So here we go.
All right.
If your card is 2, reveal it. If it's 3, reveal it. If it's 4, reveal it. If it's 5, reveal it. If it's 6, reveal it. If it's 7, reveal it. If it's 8, reveal it. If it's 9, reveal it. No, I have a 9. What do you have?
I have a queen.
Damn. Shouldn't have made it 7 points.
All right. Well, all hope is not yet lost because we have a modifier of
Ace of spades. That is something.
Ace of spades.
That is swap
Certainly
point
is.
totals before point gain, boy.
No!
You fool! You've fallen right into my trap.
You just let me win the game so that you could have more points.
Yup. All right, so that brings me up to 80, and
I'm
drops you
somehow
to
down
68.
to 68.
That's awesome. All right,
All right.
your
Here's
turn.
our
Let's do the next game. 5, which is The Price is Right, but not prices. It being your turn, what would you like to assign the point value of, and what would you like to guess the quantity of?
I am going to assign the point value. I really dislike that I have fewer points all of a sudden. I'm gonna, let's see, I'll also make it 7. That seemed to work out in your favor.
Indeed. It was
Despite
only because of the point total.
everything going in my favor. And I'm going to say the average weight of a fully grown sperm whale.
Okay.
Are you just to make sure that's not something that you happen to know or anything, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I just thought you were when you said sperm whale. When you started saying sperm whale, I was concerned for a moment.
Nah, it's fine.
All right. Once
just
again, I'm
trying to
putting my
think of
guess on the second page of the Doug Game document, so don't look there.
Gotcha. I won't
and
look there.
What unit are you using here?
Let's use pounds.
Okay.
I mean, you can use whatever you want, and we'll convert it to pounds in terms of who's closest.
Right, okay. How many pounds does a sperm whale weigh on average? More than 2, I would say. How many pounds do I weigh? It's probably more than that.
I am probably not as big as the average whale.
How many pounds does Yo Mama weigh?
Oh, got
Probably
him.
less than that.
We've established the upper and lower bounds.
So, yeah, somewhere in the middle there. It's got to be pretty high, right? Sperm whales are pretty big. Alright, I'm going to guess a grossly incorrect number. This is going to be probably way too low, but I don't want to go over.
Yeah, I think that's my strategy as well. I'm trying to pick a big enough number, but stay fairly low.
Alright, I've got my guess.
So we both got guesses. I'm going to look up average weight of a sperm whale. And the correct answer, I suppose we have numbers for male and female, which are dramatically different. So since you don't know them yet, should we average them, or?
Yeah, let's
didn't
just average
specify,
them.
so we should probably. Yeah. So
what are the numbers?
the numbers are 90,000 pounds for a male and 31,000 pounds for a female. So on average, that puts us at 60,500.
Well, my guess was not that embarrassing, actually. 12,000 pounds. What did you say?
12,000. Well done. I guessed 6,300 pounds.
Nice.
So, unfortunate.
All right. So that makes me the winner of this game.
Yep. But just wait. You'll draw the ace of spades.
I'm sure I will. Here we go.
It's the 10 of diamonds.
I was really waiting for you to say ace of spades
It's
right there.
the ace of spades. All right,
What is
but
the 10 of
luckily
diamonds?
the 10 of diamonds is plus 5 points to loser,
No.
so not a total waste. And the score is 87 to 73. We are closing in on the end of this game. It's only been 22 minutes of podcast.
Should have had a longer intro. Why did nobody email us?
We had nothing to talk about. Sports were over. We didn't get any emails. All our bets are resolved.
We had four very quick games too. Like, why can't we guess the movie 4 times like we did last time?
All right. Well, that being said, it's your turn to pick the game. So
It is.
it is a 3, which in fact is movie true or false.
Okay, so I'm the guesser, so you have
the
to come up
guesser.
with... And if I remember correctly, this one was not just movie, but could be any show or TV piece of entertainment. But I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I pick the thing, and then you look up the page and then come up with a true or false thing. Does that sound right?
That is correct. Yep.
All right, so I think I may have an advantage if I pick something that you don't actually know. Because you won't know what's an easy question. So I'm going to go with The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which is a book.
All right. So let me just scan through.
While you scan that that information and come up with something, I guess I have to chat. And so why not chat about this book that I just selected? So this book is quite long. It's much longer than a typical fantasy book. Well, I guess it's maybe when you think of fantasy book, you think of a really long book. But the story behind how this book was written was that Brandon hadn't been published yet, and he wrote, and the feedback that he was getting from publishers on the books that he was sending them was that they were too long and involved, and they wanted something that was darker and kind of more Game of Thronesy. So he tried to write something like that, and it was terrible. And of course, no one wanted to buy it because it was terrible. And so then he was like, you know what? That was terrible. What if instead I just wrote this really long thing that I want to write, and then that'll show them. And so he did, and no one bought it because it wasn't great, but he did eventually get published, and then once he did, he was able to rewrite this book and get it published, and it's now, I think, probably his most popular series. It's the first book in a series, by the way. So, do you have a fact yet, or should I keep rambling?
I've got to tell you, this Wikipedia page is like straight gibberish because it's a fantasy plot of a book I haven't read. So
keep in mind that the question doesn't have to be about the plot; it can be about anything.
True enough.
So maybe I should pick something that wouldn't be straight gibberish to you.
It's very dense. It's taking me a little while to parse enough information to determine what would be a clever question to ask. I don't want to accidentally.
Or do you want me to keep?
No. This is fine. You can keep rambling. My thought process essentially is I don't want to just like pick some of the trivia sounding things I see, because for all I know, it's going to be like literally the central point of the book or something. Right. Like, true or false, the main character is this, and you're just like, right. Well, I mean, that's so.
I guess as I keep rambling, I'll say something which is, when I first read this book, and my mom would ask me, "Oh, what's the book you're reading about?" This book is so large in scope that it's kind of difficult to explain what it's about to someone who hasn't read it, because first of all, it takes place on a world that is very foreign and different from our own world. For example, on this world is dominated by a magical storm that comes every couple weeks or so. And this storm is so powerful that not only society, but like the nature of, what animals exist and what plants exist and stuff are, have kind of adapted around this storm. So like there's not like normal earth animals. All the animals have like shells, and like the grass, like instead of just being normal grass, it actually withdraws into the ground like when you go near it, because it has to be able to do that, so because otherwise it would just all get destroyed by the storm.
Interesting.
But also, the currency that people use is like glass spheres with gemstones inside them, which I guess is probably the least weird thing about this world. The culture that the main characters are all in, they don't distinguish based on race, they distinguish based on eye color. So if you've lighter eyes, then you're like a noble, and if you have lower or darker eyes, then you're like a peasant. And also, for some reason, it's improper for women to show their left hand. It's considered scandalous in this society. So that's fun. And also, it's considered improper for men to be able to read. So, yeah, so it's quite a different society. And then not only that, but when thinking about what's it about, there's several different plots. Like, basically the first book, which is the book we're talking about, follows 3 or 4 main characters, really 3 mainly, who are like literally totally unrelated throughout 90% of the book, and then two of them, kind of meet at the end of the first book, and the third one, again, is just still totally unrelated to the first two by the end of the first book, and doesn't meet up with them until the second book. So it's like trying to explain how these things all come together is confusing. And then, so I guess, I don't know. Are you ready yet? Can I Does your silence mean you're not ready yet?
I'm not ready yet.
Okay, I'll keep going. So, I'll explain the plot, I guess. So, as I said, there's basically three separate plots. So, first, let's go back 3 years before the book started. There's a group of people called the Alethi, and the prologue, in the prologue of the book, they've just met this race of humanoids. They're not really people. They're just a different race, kind of like elves or dwarves or whatever, but they're called Parshendi. And the interesting thing about Parshendi is that the Alethi have these slaves called the Parshmen who look like the Parshendi, but are like totally dull-minded. Like they only speak when spoken to, and don't really have any original personality or thoughts of their own, so which is why the Alethi use them as slaves. And so the Parshendi are like these people, but actually sentient and intelligent, and can, not that the others aren't sentient, but the Parshendi are intelligent, have their own societies, things like that. So it's an interesting dilemma because, it seems like they've enslaved these people's cousins or whatever. But anyway, so they're at a treaty signing. So this is 3 years before the book starts. In the prologue, they're at a treaty signing, and the Parshendi send an assassin to kill the king of the Alethi, and he is successful. And this causes the Alethi to declare war on the Parshendi. And the way this war ends up being waged is a years-long siege. So the Parshendi are at the middle of have set up at a city in the middle of this, dried out plains that are they're called the Shattered Plains. They're dried out, and there's cracks between the various plateaus. So the way the war is waged is the Alethi have the ability to make food using magic, but in order to power that magic, they need gemstones. And so the war is waged by, there's these giant creatures that come onto these plateaus and go into big chrysalises, and if you get to them, you can easily, kill the creature and harvest the giant, gem that is inside the creature's heart. Are you ready now? You're looking at me like you're ready.
I am ready. I kind of fully tuned back into what you were saying, and it's absolutely insane. So
it is. You should definitely read the book. But now that you're ready,
yeah.
Go ahead. Now that we've stalled for 5 minutes just talking about this book that I like.
I'll talk to you. I already mentioned that this was a pretty dense article, especially as it explains the plot at a pretty high level, which of course seems fairly difficult for a 1,000-page novel.
Yep.
So I kind of gave up on trying to determine a plot-related or character-related question, and instead, since at the beginning of your rant you seem to understand a little bit about the publication process of the book, which I found was pretty interesting, I thought I might try and ask a question more along the lines of the coming into existence of the book. So I don't know if you know this, but there was apparently there was an original version of the book that was put online,
The Way of King's Prime.
The Way of King's Prime. Good thing I didn't ask about that since you clearly know about it.
Yep.
And it was kind of released in pieces over a little while, and then I guess at some point the book, started being sold.
Last summer, actually.
Wait, last summer, really?
Yeah. It was part of a Kickstarter they ran.
That's very strange. Suppose I didn't really...
Carry on, anyway.
Anyway, the point being, this book came out, and as you said, it was not Sanderson's first published book, so he was a little bit more well-known at this point, and it came out to fairly good reviews in general. There are a list of awards on this article. I'm taking that to be my source of truth. And looking at this list, I found it very interesting, and this is the fact that you need to determine whether I have just made up or not. This book won every award it was nominated for, including a best novel overall, regardless of genre, except for best fantasy novel. That was the one award that it was nominated for but did not win, even though other awards included best novel, best fiction, etc.
That's a very good fact, because I have no idea what awards this book won. So, seems like that would be impossible, right? That it would win best novel and not win best fantasy novel. Especially because a book like this is not something that, somebody's just gonna pick up in an airport bookstore and be like, oh, this will be a fun read for my flight.
Nice casual, gigantic.
So for it to beat out books like that have a much wider appeal for best novel, but somehow not win in the niche category in which it is actually written, seems incredibly unlikely. But why would you ask me that if that seems like a weird fact to make up? So maybe it's actually true. But I just think it's too unlikely, so I'm going to guess that is false.
All right. Well, I can tell you that this is this book was nominated by the Whitney Awards for Best Novel of the Year and Best Speculative Fiction. Both of those it won. I can also tell you that it was nominated for the David Gemmell Legend Award Best Novel and won. And finally, I will tell you that it was nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards Best Fantasy Novel, and it did not win.
Son of a bitch.
So, what a strange... yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I bet we can look it up by clicking this link. The Goodreads Choice Awards winner in 2010.
Was it the Kingkiller Chronicles?
For Best Fantasy was Towers of Midnight.
No.
By Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson.
He wrote it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, same author. This is the 13th book in the Wheel of Time series.
So you want to know the story behind that, because it's pretty interesting.
Sure.
So Brandon had published maybe 2 or 3 books at this point. And the author of the Wheel of Time series, Robert Jordan, died. And before he died, he had instructed his wife to find someone to finish his books, his series. Because he had written, the first 11 books of the series.
Yeah.
And Brandon Sanderson, who didn't know him at all, or didn't know his widow, wasn't connected to them in any way, he wrote something about Robert Jordan on his website because he was a fan of the series. And the widow ended up eventually reading that and then liking it and reading his books and being like, this is the guy I want to finish his work. So she called him up and was like, hey, do you want to finish the Wheel of Time? And this is pretty much what launched him from being like a kind of a minorly known author to a well-known author.
Sure.
So he wrote. So he had notes from Robert Jordan about what was supposed to happen in the last. It was supposed to be, I think, one book, but it ended up being 3 books, just because of how much stuff he had to fit in, and he. So, but. So yeah, so he took the notes, and he took some of the writings that Robert Jordan had already written, and he talked to Robert Jordan's assistants and his widow, and he eventually wrote that book. So I guess.
Wow.
I guess he was so good that he beat himself. And
yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that The Way of Kings, which is a massive novel, came out at the same time in the same year as The Towers of Midnight, which is, I don't know for sure, but I tend to doubt it's small. So.
Yeah,
anyway.
It appears to be 863 pages long as well. So.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive.
Quite a prolific author. Anyway,
he is quite a prolific author. All right, let's. Wow, that was a really long one.
Also, we didn't write down anything for it. Did you pick points?
Fuck. We'll just do a random thing. We'll just do a random selection. I hope it's not. Thing is, I only have 10, 10, 10, 15, 15, 20, 1, 3, 3 left. So, kind of a lose-lose. I probably would have picked a high points, but let's just see the random one. Here I go. It'll be whatever I see, since we determined last time that it's different. Right. And okay, I feel really like, I don't know. I'll just share screen to show you, but it is 3.
Fair enough. Statistics.
So 3 points. Nathan is the winner. This is.
All right. Let's see what we've got to modify those 3 points.
That's a Queen of Diamonds, which
sounds exciting.
Which I don't know what it is. It's probably.
No, Queen is winners and losers swap.
Nice, I get the 3 points. Now I don't feel as
you
bad.
Get the 3 points.
All right, that takes me up to 90. Wow, if it had been one of the other ones, I would have just outright won on that.
Yeah, so
delete the 3 points. All right, so we come to your turn. Show us the game.
Come to my turn. This is for
all
the marbles.
Concentration. All right, so keeping in mind that I need 10 points to win the game, how many points do you want this to be worth?
This is going to be worth 1 point.
1 point. All right. The stakes have never been lower.
It almost doesn't matter because you're almost certainly going to go for the win next time. So I guess
not even like I have much of a choice. All right. So what's the category?
I'm just hoping for a better chance of game rather than concentration. Let's go with. This is kind of difficult. Have we done countries before?
It's been long enough that I don't know for sure, but I don't remember ever doing that.
All right. Well, there's a bunch of countries that could go on for a while. Why don't we say? See, I don't want to pick like South American countries because we might just know them all.
I definitely don't know all of the South American countries.
All right. Well, let's wing it then. Let's go for South American countries.
All right. So you start, I believe. So whenever you're ready.
Brazil.
Peru.
Argentina.
New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, but I said it too slowly. I know the 3 countries.
All right. I will maybe get a single point pending this modifier.
Modifier is
6 of spades, which should be nothing.
Hooray! Congratulations on your single point.
90 to 74.
Let's see the next game. It's my turn. The game is
5, which is The Price is Right, but not prices.
all right. Let's do it. This game is worth 10 points.
Do or die situation here.
All right, so let's guess. The Price is Right, but not prices. What quantity should we guess? Let's guess the Okay, so the state of Delaware has 3 counties. So let's guess, with that in mind, let's guess the total area of the largest of Delaware's 3 counties in square miles.
In square miles. Wow, what an interesting question. Okay.
Let's see. Delaware. See, I really have
clearly
no
I have
idea.
To figure out how big Delaware is. And to do that, I need to remember which state is Delaware.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure I know, but I'm not like 100% sure, so
Well, that puts me at an advantage, I guess.
I guess it does.
I still have no idea what ballpark of square miles. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to say my reasoning out loud because it might help you.
It definitely would.
So, I know that. So that's probably like that. So, maybe like... Alright, I have a ballpark guess. Alright, so I have guessed. I'm looking up the answer now.
Alright, I've made my guess as well. Have I? I'm just trying to do some, mental math to make sure I didn't guess a stupid number. But I don't think I guessed a stupid number. I've got my guess.
Okay, I'm just looking at I think I know which one is largest. I'm just checking the numbers to make sure.
Okay.
So Delaware's 3 counties are Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex.
Okay.
And Sussex is the southernmost one and is the largest.
Okay.
It contains a total of 1,196 square miles. 936 square miles of land, 260 square miles of water.
All right.
So, with that number in mind, 1,196, my guess was 300 square miles. What was your guess?
My guess was 3,000 square miles.
Oh, no! All right.
So
that means that this is the game pending the modifier. And the modifier is, Nathan, if you please, 6 of diamonds, which I think does not help you enough, if it helps you at all.
doesn't
Indeed,
change
plus
the
5
outcome.
points to loser.
Well, I got 5 points to make it look a little bit more respectable.
But with the even 100, Alex cruises to the victory, 100-79, after 18 long rounds of
Wow.
this game.
What a hard-fought victory it was, and I have to say, I feel robbed.
Yeah, you did get the unfortunate point swap modifier.
Yeah, it's
which put you down 19 points, from me. Like
and
we were
unfortunately,
19 points apart when it occurred, and you lost
Right.
by 21. So it was a significant difference.
I lost all of. We traded points when I was at 80, and I ended the game at 79, which doesn't feel good. But
Indeed. So since
What are
that
you gonna
time,
do?
so I scored 20 points after that swap,
right,
and you scored 18 points. So it was actually pretty even. I just had the benefit of
You just took all my points.
having the higher score from that swap.
Yeah.
So, well, that's the end of the game. We're sitting here at about 50 minutes. Do you want to talk about something for 10 minutes to make it an hour, or just be like, nah, 50 minutes is what you get for not emailing us?
Yeah, I'm inclined to just throw this one back at the listeners. Maybe we'll toss in an extra 10 minutes of silence or so at the end here, just to really drive the point home.
Well, there you go, listeners. There's your 50-minute episode, 15 of which was just me talking about the Way of Kings.
I forgot.
So you're welcome, I guess. Go read The Way of Kings, because it's a pretty cool
There's
book. And
there's
it's part
your
of
recommendation.
And it's part of what will eventually be a 10-book series. So that's
I feel like it's I mean, probably not, given how much Brandon Sanderson seems to write. Like I feel like you can be fairly confident that he will finish the series. But I think in general, I'm a little bit nervous about starting series that are, like huge series like that are in progress. Ever since I started a Game of Thrones a few years ago, and since I started it, there have been no new books that have come out.
Yeah.
Despite only needing 2 more to finish the series.
So Brandon is quite a prolific writer.
Right.
It takes him about 2 years to fully write and edit one of these books.
It's incredible.
Which is not that long considering how big the books are. So
right.
I wouldn't be that worried, except that he writes so much other stuff. Like he has. So the Way of Kings is actually in a shared universe of some of his books, and the other main series in that universe will eventually have at minimum 13 books in it. And he's currently writing book 7 of that series.
Wow.
So
where's he at in this one?
Book 4 came out last November.
So 4 of 10?
Yes.
All right.
And so the way it's actually structured in interesting ways, like this one, The Way of Kings, the series is a Stormlight Archive, and it's split into 2 5-book arcs. So like book 5 will have like somewhat of an ending, and then there will be like a 10 to 15 year time skip before the next book.
It's interesting to see how much he's got planned.
And he's also planning on taking a real life break of several years,
right,
to write other stuff between the first 5 and last 5. But anyway, and this other series that I mentioned is actually split up 13 books into 4 eras. So like the first 3 trilogy, and then the next trilogy is Era 2, which takes place like 300 to 400 years after the first trilogy. And then each era will again be like advanced further into the future. So, yeah, we'll see how it all goes. Yeah, he's a very prolific writer. All right, I've talked for another 3 minutes about him, so that's probably where we should end the episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Alex.
I'm Alex.
And this has been Joel.